demand a vaccine. The point of COVID-19, as James Giordano had said, it was about to create the media hype of the worried well, so that we would beg for a solution.
What I've now done is I've got every individual who is diagnostically hypochondriacal, and I've got every individual who's the worried well flooding the public health system, banging on the door.
People have been deceived at all levels of government. People have been deceived in militaries around the globe as well, the men and women who are serving in our global militaries. Because before Satan can destroy, he must deceive.
Because in 2002, the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill patented, and I quote, an infectious replication defective clone of coronavirus. Listen to those words, infectious replication defective. What does that phrase actually mean? For those of you not familiar with language, let me unpack it for you. Infectious replication defective means a weapon. It means something meant to target an individual, but not have collateral damage to other individuals. That's what infectious replication defective means.
In 2018, Peter Daszak, the president of EcoHealth Alliance, submitted a proposal to the Department of Defense, clearly articulating the bioweapon that they were developing. And part of his team was Ralph Barrett from the University of North Carolina, as well as Dr. Zhengli Shi from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And in the proposal, Daszak clearly states, we will develop recombinant chimeric spike proteins from the known SARS-CoV-2 virus. That's the SARS-CoV-2 sequences. And we will sequence, reconstruct, and characterize spike trimers and incorporate them into nanoparticles. This is very damning evidence that COVID-19 was not caused by a gain-of-function virus. It was caused by nanotechnology that was always intended to be used as a bioweapon on global civilians.
Please make sure that you make reference in every investigation to the premeditation nature of this, because it was in September of 2019 that the world was informed that we were going to have an accidental or intentional release of a respiratory pathogen so that by September 2020, there would be a worldwide acceptance of a universal vaccine template. That's their words.
Why don't we blow the system up? I mean, obviously we can't just turn off the spigot on the system we have and then say, hey, everyone in the world should get this new vaccine we haven't given to anyone yet.
There might be a need or even an urgent call for an entity of excitement out there that's completely disruptive, that's not beholden to bureaucratic strings and processes.
So we really do have a problem of how the world perceives influenza, and it's going to be very difficult to change that unless you do it from within and say, I don't care what your perception is, we're going to address the problem in a disruptive way and in an iterative way, because you do need both.
Until an infectious disease crisis is very real, present, and at the emergency threshold that is often largely ignored. To sustain the funding base beyond the crisis, he said, we need to increase the public understanding for the need for medical countermeasures such as a pan-influenza or pan-coronavirus vaccine. A key driver is the media, and the economics will follow the hype.
We often say, no one is safe until everyone is safe, and that's more than just a slogan.
No one is safe.
No one is safe.
No one is safe.
No one is safe. No one is safe.
We aren't really ever going to be safe.
No one is safe until everyone is safe.
The whole world isn't safe. None of us are safe.
No one is safe.
No one is safe.
Nobody is safe.
Nobody is safe.
Nobody is safe until everybody is safe.
Nobody is safe.
No one is safe.
No one is safe.
No one is safe until everyone is safe.
No one's safe.
Nobody is safe. Nobody's safe.
Because nobody is safe until we are all safe.
7 months before the allegation of patient number 1, 4 patent applications of Moderna were modified to include the term accidental or intentional release of a respiratory pathogen as the justification for making a vaccine for a thing that did not exist.
So let's just get into this, and I'd like to take you through the patents that are on Moderna's website. So there's a patent entitled Modified Polynucleotides for the Production of Secreted Proteins. This is one of the master patents for what they're calling mRNA vaccines. Right in the abstract, it describes that the lipid nanoparticles have a particle size between 80 and 160 nanometers, and it contains modified mRNA encoding a polypeptide. It includes a cationic lipid, a neutral lipid, a cholesterol, and a pegylated lipid. What they're calling lipids actually host cationic charges. They host positive electromagnetic fields. There is no lipid in nature that does that. They're using the term lipid instead of nanotechnology. As you go through the patent in section 219, it explains how they are self-assembled nanoparticles and they're fully programmable. That term in here it is an alarming term for a number of reasons. One reason is that these are both pre-programmable as well as they can receive programs from an external source. Microsoft did a 3-minute video on their technology. They call them biological computers.
Imagine a world where we can do computation inside living cells.
The problem that we're trying to solve is really trying to have a more sophisticated diagnosis that can happen automatically inside cells.
Imagine a biological computer that operates inside a living cell.
The type of work that they're doing is essentially they're trying to sense, analyze, and control molecular information.
In this project, we're trying to use DNA as a programmable material.
DNA is highly programmable, just like a computer, and we can program a whole range of complex behaviors using DNA molecules.
So there's one specific patent that I think it's very important for every American citizen to see, and it's patent number US 9539210B2. It was issued on January 10th of 2017. The patent is entitled Vaccine Nanotechnology, and in section 9, it discusses the vaccine nanotechnology that can deliver molecules. In some embodiments, the small molecule is a toxin. The toxin is from a chemical weapon, an agent of biowarfare. This is a utility patent for the pegylated lipid nanoparticles that are in these, what they're calling COVID-19 vaccines. It is a utility patent for that nanotechnology to be used as a bioweapon. So Pfizer entered into a contract with the Department of Defense, the US Army, in July of 2020. And the contract was to manufacture a vaccine that was capable of providing protection against the SARS-CoV-2 threat and related coronaviruses. So the purpose was to create an mRNA vaccine that would protect against SARS-CoV-2 infection and the variants. As you go through this contract, though, under the chemistry manufacturing control section, they go through the manufacturing process. Much of it is blacked out for the lipid nanoparticle formulation. They discuss how the lipid nanoparticles must adhere to good manufacturing practices, so they must not be contaminated. Well, in 2017, the FDA published guidance called Classification of Products as Drugs and Devices. And they classify nanoparticles, they classify them as devices because they can perform their functions inside the human body without being dependent on chemical reactions inside the human body. As you continue to go through the contract under the manufacturing development plan, that Pfizer will describe the manufacturing process for the vaccine product to ensure conformity with the Food and Drug Consumer Protection Act Title 21 351A2B. That's alarming because 21 U.S. Code 351A2B is the good manufacturing processes for devices.
All right.